Hey guys, this is MG with PPN here, and today is Monday, so that means it's the Bug Out series. There's a lot I want to cover in this series for probably months. Today I just wanted to kind of go over with you guys the basics, and then later I'll get to the meat and potatoes of everything, showing you some of my stuff that I got for this Bug Out series thing. Um, First and foremost, we just need to get our minds right, and I figured I'd put some stuff together to give you an idea where your mindset's going to go. I know you can read this and hey, read along with me. I spend time to write it out. Preparedness for bugging out. Bugging out can mean many different things to many different people. In general, we speak of bugging out. We talk about having to make quick getaways during time of crisis. That can be due to either something like we've been talking forever, man-made or natural disaster causes you to leave your immediate area, or due to a long-term crisis. Sorry, my phone just went off. I forgot to turn it down. There we go. Um, Bugging out can mean many different things to different people. In general, when we speak of bugging out, we are talking about having to make quick getaway during time of crisis. That could be due to man-made or natural disasters. We've talked about that in previous shows. That causes you to leave your immediate area, or due to long-term crisis situations, which could make returning home dangerous or impossible. While these reasons for bugging out are many, it's an action that should never be taken lightly, as it could carry significant risks to you, your safety, and security. Here's a few things to keep in mind. Bugging out without a place is a recipe for disaster. You have no idea exactly where you can go. You can take maps and look at maps and decide, hey, this looks like a good place. And then once you get there, it's not. Everybody else either had the same idea or it's just not going to work. Planning to live off land without ever doing it before, that's something else. And also bugging out increases your risk of being attacked during the extreme crisis situation, where one where people will maybe targeting those with supplies, and we know that's going to happen. So you have to weigh your options carefully and keep your self-defense in mind. Having a well thought out evacuation strategy is an essential part of emergency preparedness plan. Equally important is understanding the threats out there and what types of disasters and crisis situations would cause you to put your bug out plan in place. While everyone's reasons for evacuating is different, largely based on your unique needs and circumstances, the following threats are things that you should consider when putting together your family's bug out plan. And we've seen all this has been coming down the pike for a while. The large-scale cyber attack brings the whole grid down, or an EMP. Now you're in the dark. Pandemic outbreak or a localized disease epidemics. We saw that with the Ebola, the Zika virus. Attack on the water supply. We've seen that with these recent uh, the lead and Flint, and in New York with the and Fukushima. Then you think about the breakdown in the food distribution. What if there's no food in stores anymore? Large scale economic collapse, social unrest, and riots. We're seeing that too. Martial law. Well, essentially, we're kind of sort of under one. Earthquakes, wildfires, hurricanes, storm surge flooding. And we've seen that in the past. So, evacuation planning, developing your bug out plans. Now that you've considered the most likely threats that would cause you to evacuate, it's time to start putting those plans in place to deal with each of the identified threats. The only way to truly be able to survive a threat is to have a plan in place to deal with it. A crisis situation is not a time to start winging it. So, first you kind of need to evaluate, should I stay or should I go? I think you should plan for both. While having a bug out plan is important, you need to consider the pros and the cons of leaving your sheltering in place. For example, if you're in an urban area and you have civil unrest, it might not be the safest place to be, and you might need to get out of there. How do you plan, or how to plan your bug out route for emergency evacuation? You don't want to start thinking about how you're going to evacuate as you're grabbing your stuff and your bag and during that disaster, and then take off. You need to have a documented plan in place that will help ensure you're able to make it to safety and to safely get out of Dodge. Um, Conducting routine emergency drills and disaster trainings. When it comes to real world preparedness, your ability to survive a crisis comes down to two things: your planning and your training. If you don't practice your plans, then your plans are useless. And this is true. We as a group in PPN, we practice a lot. You train twice a year with professionals, and then you practice, 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 practice. So, if you that way you learn. You learn if things aren't going to go right. All these different things that can come up. We always say have three different ways of getting there, three alternatives, and practice those alternatives. Just take the family and go and do it on a weekend. Um, as this says, make time for your preparedness related training. In order to really be prepared to deal with the disasters, you need to bring training into your daily routine. You also need a communication plan. During a disaster, it's very likely that most communication channels will go down. You need to have a plan in place, gather information, connect with your loved ones during the time of crisis. National Trails System maps. There's thousands of hiking trails. They're everywhere throughout the United States. These trails are something that should be kept in mind during these disasters, where you may have to evacuate by foot. You might start out on a car. You might end up on foot. You have to think about your gas and routes. You don't want to take main roads because everyone's going to take main roads, and it's going to be clogged up. You're going to end up on foot. U.S. Railroad Traffic Atlas. Railroad tracks are another possible evacuation route that shouldn't be ignored also. Um, let's see here. Your bug out bag and emergency gear. And I will be going over this quite extensively. Um, in the next few weeks, I'll some of the stuff I'm going to gear for female too, as because it just makes sense. Because sometimes they get forgotten, and if they're not, if some women don't have their head in the game, and their husbands are there, or their boyfriends, do it for them. They will thank you later. The type of gear you select can go a long way in determining the outcome of your situation. When picking any type of survival gear, make sure you do your research though. Once you have the gear, make sure you test it, train with it. A lot of our guys will do little challenges amongst themselves through the group just to kind of boost morale. And last year during the summer we mowed our grass with our bug out bags on our backs. And not only did that give us a good workout PT wise, but it also gave us an idea of what it's going to be like under stress. So and carrying that extra weight. So it was kind of cool to do, and the guys had fun doing it. So train with your gear, and thoroughly understand how to use all your supplies. There's people that, hey, I've got this really cool thing, but I don't know how to open it. I don't know how to close it. That could be a hassle too when you're out there. Um, there is no one size fits all bag. There just isn't. When it comes to packing your bag, a number of things need to be considered. First and foremost should be planning. Start with a good plan. This is really the only way to get started in order to know what gear you should go into your bag. You need to consider the following couple of things, and these are just a couple of things I'll put together. What are the most likely disaster situations you'll face? And we discussed those. The threats might you face. What are your strengths and weaknesses? So yeah, we talked about that as far as how much weight you can carry. How limitations do you have when fending yourself? Considerations to think about before packing your bob. You will be traveling with you. Like who you taking? Will you have a whole family? Are you going to rally with somebody? That's something to consider. Do you have a bob for your kids? And that's real important. And I will be showing you the one I put together for my 6-year-old granddaughter. And also, her being in a public school, I need to keep that with me in case I need to pick up and run. So if I have to go pick her up, I already have her bag in the car. Are you actually prepared to bug out? Now, that's something that's emotional. You really have to put your head in the game. Are you really prepared for that? Because now you're going to be out of your elements, out of your comfort zone, and you're going to be in like a whole new different ball of wax. And are you going to be going to somewhere that's just, out in the wilderness, or are you planning on actually going to a destination that already has shelter? So here's some of the essentials that I think that you need to go. Do you need more than one bag? Some people have a lot of stuff, and They think they need to take everything in the kitchen sink, when in reality, I mean, you have to think about how long you're going to be out there. For example, when I started putting my bob together originally, it was your basic essentials. Um, and then as I went, I started adding things, as we all do, and replacing some things so that I can lighten up my load. But my bag is set up now for more than 72 hours. And I kind of think that's pretty much. I don't want to go any further than that. I'd say 72 hours to a week. I want to keep, if I already have a destination in mind, and if it's possible to keep some of my stuff there, then that's optional. I mean, that's optimal. Um, but if I have to just wing it that way, as far as taking the stuff with me all at once, I don't want to carry as much as possible, just the essentials. I do have an EDC bag. I carry that with me every day. We will be going through that too in another segment, and show you what I carry in my car all the time. Do you have an evacuation plan? Like, okay, something hits. What's your plan to, to gather all your things and your family, and go. Also, don't forget portable solar panel chargers. A lot of people think about, okay, we didn't have a grid down, we didn't have a EMP or anything, but I need to keep my cell phone up so I can contact people I need to, radios, etc. Think about getting a portable solar panel charger. Like they sell the little ones at Amazon or wherever. Um, let's see. Also, 15 essential items in any bug out bag. And this is just going off the top of my head. You need something for shelter, or unless you're nifty like that and can make your own. A blanket, sleeping bag, fire making. You need warmth or cooking. Water filtration. You can do that with like your Life Straws, Sawyer filter systems, or they have these capsules now for water purifying. First aid and medical. That's very important. I have them in all of our bags. Knife, multi-tool, a light, cordage like paracord, clothing, food, and let me get back up. Clothing, like something to keep yourself from getting wet, like a poncho or something of that nature. You can put in like maybe one pair of spare clothing. That's kind of your discretion and how much weight you want to carry. Food, weapons, toiletries, hygiene's a big important one. Weapons, as far as defense, you might need to use them for hunting later. Then you have to think about your ammo. Communications, like a ham radio, walkie talkies, whatever you think is going to suit your family best. Money for barter, or money and or barter items. Some people, even if they don't drink, they still have the different types of alcohol just for barter things. Money I think, would be good for if you get in a sticky situation, and or you can use it. I think if it's an economy down thing, maybe the first 24, 48 hours, it might be worth something. Um, and something for entertainment. An e-reader, deck of playing cards, something, anything for entertainment. To kind of, for kids, and keep that in mind, and just so you're not bored. Bug out locations, where to head, and when things go bad. Let's see. When things go bad, having a dedicated bug out location can help ensure your survival. Not only will you have a place to go far from the chaos and dangers associated with urban survival, but you'll also have a place to store backup supplies and equipment, just as I said earlier. Here are a few ideas to think about for the bug out location. Friends or family property in the country, so you already have ground established. A campgrounds, national park and forest. And then there's some other possibilities, and kind of keep an open mind. Mines or ghost towns, towns that are just kind of empty. And factories, anything to get out of the elements. Now consider how you're going to get there. Vehicles, like maybe a car, or you can set up a vehicle specifically just for that, bicycle, or one foot. With each required thought, though, consider the circumstances along that comes with them. Like, you're going to need gas, so you might want to store gas for your vehicle, or for future use. If you're, say, you have a need for a generator, you'll need gas for that. Unless you're kind of savvy and can change it over to run on something else. Weight of your bob. And that's real important. Everybody tries to stay around 27 and under pounds. Especially if you're on foot, you're thinking, how far can you go in a day? Say you've traveled 15 miles. Do you realize how heavy 30 pounds is going to be? So that's something to take in consideration. Self-defense and evacuation. And there is one thing you can almost count on during times of crisis: there's always going to be people looking to take advantage of the situation. Self-defense is something that you need to take seriously, and it needs to be part of any good survival plan. Firearms, knives, etc. are just a few things to consider to protect yourself and your supplies. Don't forget that also these things need things to keep going, like your ammo and how much will you need and things like that. Important bug out considerations. The key to survival is knowledge. Without it, you don't stand a chance. Here are some other important considerations that you should keep in mind when considering your evacuation plans. You must plan for breakdowns in the infrastructure. Stay away from large cities. Have a list of communications, frequencies, channels, networks. Always carry an EDC. It's an everyday carry. How far can you walk in a day? Do you have pets? And see, that's one thing a lot of people forget. Yeah, you got pets. They're part of your family. Do you plan on taking them with you, turning them loose? I mean, what is your outlook on this? What is your view? You know, prep for them. Food, whatever. They also make some really cool dog packs now that snap to their backs, and they can carry some stuff as well. And we'll get into that at a later time as well. Once at your bug out location, you need to secure a perimeter. So that's also some things you need to consider. And things I've mentioned today, I'm going to take in each segment and do something for you guys to show you what we've done and what I've put in place for my family. I'll go through my EDC bag, which I'll probably do that today for you at the end of this segment. And next, I'll probably go through my bob for you and show you different things. Every time I go through my bob, I'll find something else I want to either replace or add. So you'll get what I'm saying. And for your pets, also, all kinds of things. Also, I'll go through not just this kind of stuff, but fun stuff too, because I know you guys like to see self-defense things. So I'll show you some of my things, like my plate carrier for safety measures, and my primary and my secondary, and what I think is how much I think I should carry for myself. Everybody's different. So here's just a few of the things that we need to consider. And Google is full of all kinds of things. Just go in there and type in whatever you want to learn about. That's, you need to get your head in the mindset of, if you leave your home and you're bugging out, can you handle it physically and emotionally, and prepare for that? And like with my first aid, I make sure that if there's anybody in my family's normal ailments, I have it covered. You can either start storing it or learning holistic ways, because there's so many things out there that you can learn for yourself, like for example, your edible, wild edibles, they're medicinal. I mean, there's just all kinds of things, herbs and whatnot. So we'll go through all these things as we go, and hopefully it'll be informative and helpful. Anyway, here's my EDC bag.
Hey guys, I just wanted to show you my motorcycle EDC bag. What I usually carry when I go out for a ride. I'm a vapor, so I always got my vape with me. My phone, my 9, my wallet. This is my bag. It fits in, I have side bags on my motorcycle, or I have these straps I can hook it on the front, wherever. Let's take a look inside. This is paracord. First aid, cotton balls, tourniquet, Vaseline. That helps with multitudes of things, including taking some of these cotton balls and putting some Vaseline on them, and there starts a fire. Water. Lots of water. This is essentially like a 3-day bag. So if I'm out on my bike and shit hits the fan, at least I'm covered for 3 days so I can get home. Food bar. That's about it in here. Front, I got poncho, hand warmers, glow stick. This is your Nyler bag, rescue blanket, side pockets, got my multi-tool Leatherman, and of course my oh, I can't get it open now. Did you lock it? It's locked. Sog knife, On this side, flashlight, matches, extra batteries, and a lighter. So, as you see, it holds quite a bit, and I could probably put more in it, believe it or not. And I have this with me in my side bag of my bike. So, you know, 3 days worth of stuff here, survival, whatever, and, you know, use it as your EDC bag, get home bag, whatever. But that's what I take with me when I go. For all the motorcycle guys out there, you could pick these things up already loaded, except for a couple of minor things like this, this. But it does come with, you know, these essential things over here. Already packed in this little bag. You can get it at Walmart, believe it or not, or look at it online. It's really tactical. So, I mean, you could just do like 90 million things with it. It's got all kinds of things. So, yeah, that's my motorcycle EDC bag.